Hey, this is Art Whitaker of Milk the Funk the podcast. This is our first video Wiki Kwiki. We're here today in Charlotte, North Carolina at Wooden Robot. What we try to do with Milk the Funk the podcast is bring the science of sour beer and farmhouse ales to the masses and talk to people who are experts in that. But we want to do with the Wiki Kwiki is the application of that science. How you take what we've learned in Milk the Funk and what other brewers have learned and apply it to making fantastic beer. About 2 weeks ago, I was in Charlotte, as I do normally come down here a lot for business, and there's a great beer scene here in Charlotte. A lot of really good brewers, and I've been going around a lot of breweries, but a lot of people have told me about Wooden Robot that I need to go here. So I instantly came in here, sat down, had a beer. It was one of the sour beers, and was totally enamored by it immediately. It was clean yet complex. You know, no off flavors, really done well, and just so happened that the brewer, Dan Wade, was sitting down the end of the table. I asked if he wanted to do this. I was coming back to Charlotte. So, Dan, tell us a little bit about Wooden Robot.
Yeah, so we're about 3 years old. We've been here in Charlotte since 2015, and we consider ourselves an urban farmhouse brewery. So what that means to us is we really try to take farmhouse brewing philosophy, local ingredients, mixed fermentation, and a lot of rustic ingredients, and apply that to our urban setting, being right here near downtown Charlotte. What Wooden Robot means is really, it's symbolic. So the wooden kind of represents that old school artisanal way of brewing, and the robot represents our American innovative spirit of craft beer. Okay. So we're trying to take old and new art and science and make something really unique.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about your wood back here. You've got quite a bit of barrels and some foeders back here.
Yeah, we have 330 barrel oak foeders, all American oak. 2 of them we use for our sour golden base that we use for a lot of our fruited sours, dry hop sours, and sometimes unblended. And then we also have 1 foeder that we use for mixed fermentation farmhouse ales. So our foeder for thought base is 1 beer per bottle. That's our mixed fermentation farmhouse ale. That one we secondary in oak. Our sour golden we actually do complete primary mixed fermentation in oak.
Okay. Your bugs. How did you come by your bugs? Are you ordered from slabs? Is it a collection of dregs?
Yeah. So we play around with a lot of different things. So our base, like sour golden culture that we use for primary, is a mix of different lab cultures that we like from home brewing over the years, from my other commercial brewing experience, and a mix of other professional brewers' beers that we collected dregs from, isolated certain things, or just grew up. So that kind of changed and evolved over the first year or so. So we got to the point where we were really, really happy and getting results that we really like consistently. So we've been using that mixed culture. At this point, so much went into it, and it's kind of melded and formed its own balance. And yeah, I don't think I could ever recreate it if I wanted to.
It's lactic, but clean, but complex, but it's not overly sour. One of the beers was pretty tart. I can't remember which one it was while I was in here, but that's what I really like. It. I'm one of these guys sometimes that likes to get down and come off my feet. You know.
Yeah, we like to do a different mix. Like our foeder for thought base, our mixed fermentation farmhouse ales, we go for like a nice balancing tartness with a little bit more funk in there. But for our sour golden base, we really like to go for like a nice clean lactic acidity with more of a fruit focus on it. So we get a lot of like stone fruit and tropical fruits out of our mixed bread culture on that.
When you're doing your fermentation, do you have a period or just till it's ready?
We've dialed in pretty good on the foeder beers. Those are typically 8 to 12 weeks for us. It does depend on flavor and what we're doing with it. We'll go a little bit younger if we know that it's getting heavily fruited and we want to have the yeast a little more active in the beer. But if we're doing something where it's going to be dry hopped or served completely unblended or untreated, then we're trying to get more of the bread character to come through. So we give that a little more time, typically closer to 12 weeks.
So you do anything in the 6 month or 1 year range yet? Or?
All of our wine barrels are aging sour beers. So those we typically do for at least a year. We've had we've released 1 beer that was aged for 2 years. That was called Reserve Doré. It was our sour golden Chardonnay barrel. We actually picked 1 Chardonnay barrel of that beer that was our absolute favorite barrel and just bottled that up completely.
So it's 1 barrel that just made, instead of blending it, you just barrel it in. I do the same thing. I work for on sites, and so sometimes we blend, sometimes you just say this barrel's too good, and
Yeah.
you only get a couple hundred bottles if you're lucky out of it. But still, it's something that works for us.
Yeah, we really like playing with that uniqueness of that single barrel, and then we can do a blend of similar barrels and kind of contrast the blended, more complex versus that really like singular one barrel that we really like.
Have you guys done any collaborations with any of the local breweries around here? Or?
We've done a handful. Yeah, we've done collaborations with Heist Brew Pub that's in Noda. We've done collaborations with Birdsong as well. We have a few more planned with some other North Carolina breweries in the work. We've done a lot with the Bond Brothers out in Cary, North Carolina.
Very good brewery. I like them a lot. I'll be going to Raleigh in the very near future. Go up there and see Steve English at Barrel Culture and Blending and Bond Brothers. And also, I'm a big lager fan, and we'll talk a little bit about this beer too.
Yeah.
But Mason Jar
Mason
Lager,
Jar,
those guys up there. Dave Hayes, and actually, I think we're going to brew a collaboration. I've never brewed a lager in my life. I've got an old recipe I found from Charlotte that pays in about a Chex-Mex, actually Chex-Mex Pilsner, not a lager. But since I've never done Pilsner, a real Pilsner, we talked about it. I gave him the recipe, and we're excited. So one time I go up there for work and business. I sell steel for a living. Everybody thinks I do beer, but my real job is selling steel. We said we'd talk about doing a collaboration, do a small test batch first, see how it works out.
Yeah.
I told him if it worked out, go ahead and to me, recipes aren't. I can share them. Everything I've learned in the beer world, I've learned from somebody else.
Absolutely, that's a great thing about brewing, the collaborative nature of everything.
Very few of my ideas, and I've had a lot of really good ideas, but very few of them are original. I've stole a little bit from here, and it's one of the fun things I get from this Milk the Funk and the podcast I did when I did Milk the Funk Live, and the podcast, and hanging around a lot of brewers and traveling around and meeting a lot of people, is the osmosis of the ideas. And I take a little bit from what I learned at one place, a little bit from what I learned at another place, and I'll listen to them talk when I'm recording, and I'm like, man, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And I'm going to incorporate that. And with the head brewer of our brewery, Alex Sykes, and he's another mad genius. We're big into doing a lot of Gruit style beers. We do a lot of foraging, wild foraging.
Absolutely,
And so we kind of play off our different ideas. He's more of a wild, from the hip guy, and I'm more of a build the recipe and type guy. So sometimes it clashes. Sometimes it works out good. We've had a lot of good beer. We're in like 10 or 12 countries in Europe right now, so it's kind of fun. Awesome. So distribution for Wooden Robot.
Yeah, so we brewed about 3,000 barrels last year. A little less than half of that we sold through our tap room here. The other half we mostly sold in draft around the city. So we had close to 200 counts, mostly in Charlotte, a little bit across North Carolina. We have some accounts that come and pick up beer from us. We just started sending a little more beer out towards Asheville and Morganton and into the mountains out there. But we really see, we have a couple expansions planned for on-site, so we really see that being the main focus going forward.
I was reading an article today. I was in a bathroom, believe it or not, and with a customer down in South Carolina, and they had the Charlotte Business Journal, and it was talking about craft brewing, and I saw it had Wooden Robot on it, so while I was sitting there, and I did a little research on what your company does, the size of your company, and some of the future plans, and maybe talk about another tap room maybe in the city.
Yeah, we have plans for another tap room up in Noda on the north side of town. We're down south end on the south side of town. And that also will be our sour production facility, so we're going to be hoping to add another 8 or 10 fooders over there and a couple hundred more barrels, and really start being able to play around more and more with our sour program.
Tell me about, I'm a big fan of this beer, and I'm kind of like the rest of the world, going trending back toward lagers and pilsners, especially here in the South.
Yep.
And but this is a farmhouse lager, and what makes this different from you got a regular lager up there?
Yeah.
But this thing is just so complex, light and easy to drink, but it's got some complexity to it.
Yeah. The main differentiator between this and our other lagers is we use local triticale, and we actually use 100% local malt in all of our beers. We work with a company called Epiphany out of Durham, North Carolina. Okay. But this beer features local triticale, which is a hybrid of wheat and rye. And it just has that little bit of twangy, complex spiciness that the rye kind of flavor gives you. And we've been playing around with different pilsners, and we have a Mexican style lager that are really crisp and clean and one note, and we just wanted to play with a little bit of a different grain in there and really highlight the local malts that we use and just bring out a little uniqueness to the beer.
Did you use a lager yeast in it and lager traditionally like the normal lager?
Yep, it's lagered and our goal for this beer is as we open up our second facility and we add more oak is to start being able to do a little bit of oak aging of it as well. Yeah. Do a foeder aged lager.
Yeah, it's nice and warm in here. This beer is tasting really good right now. We're not in the air conditioned part of the brewery here. I guess. What is your favorite style when you're brewing a sour beer? What are you trying to do?
What I really like to do is let the beer age and kind of dictate where we go from there. So if we pick up a lot of like really nice stone fruit notes, we might add peach or apricot to kind of build off of that base flavor that the yeast is giving us. If we have like these really bright citrusy notes, we'll dry hop it with a hop that kind of complements those notes. So when we put our beer into our foeder, we don't really have a plan for exactly what that beer is going to be used for when it's done. And same with our barrel aging program. We let the character of the beer kind of dictate what happens with the finished beer, whether it gets blended with another base, whether it gets dry hopped or fruited or herbs or tea added to it. So we really like exploring the complexity of the mixed culture that we're using and letting that kind of dictate what the finished beer ends up being.
Okay. I have another question. I just totally forgot it because I was just looking at the time here. You guys also have a restaurant here.
Yes.
I think you have, it's like a partnership, is that?
That's right, yeah. So we have a partnership with Create Experiences. So they're a catering company and they also ran a food truck for us for several years. We partnered with them almost since we opened. And we just recently opened up our gastropub space, partnering with them, and installed like about the 600 square foot kitchen. So they're doing a really unique menu of kind of like twists on traditional Southern food.
Oh yeah, I had the Brussels sprouts last time. It was fantastic.
They do a really good job. Yeah, and they're a lot of fun to work with. We bounce a lot of ideas off of each other. They incorporate our beer into a lot of the food items that they make, and we're always kind of playing around with new ways that we can have the food and beer play off of each other.
Have you learned from Milk the Funk? Have you learned anything from the Milk the Funk that goes into your brewing?
I've gotten a lot of inspiration from Milk the Funk. The single biggest thing is Bob Sylvester's bottle priming guide has really helped us kind of dial in some of our
Bob.
sours.
He's my bud.
Yeah, I kind of cut my teeth brewing down in Florida at a brewery called Swamphead in Gainesville.
Okay.
So we're in pretty close proximity to Bob. So
yeah, I
learned a lot from him over the years.
Yeah, one of my favorite Milk the Funk lives I did was I called Bob. I was going down to Tampa for business, and I said, "Hey Bob, would you want to do one of the Milk the Funk lives?" He said, "Sure, that'd be great." He goes, "Do you mind if Jake Miller's here?" I said, "He's brewing for me right now." I said, "Oh yeah." He goes, "And Garrett Crowell's going to be in town too, former Chesapeake brewer."
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, okay, this is really getting interesting."
Yeah.
And so we sat down to the recording, and Christopher Johnson shows up from Green Bench, and so it was. If you go onto the Wiki, under the video section, under Milk the Funk Live, that interview is there. It's about a 2-hour-long interview. They're passing around fantastic beer. Skip the first 20 minutes because, again, that was on the internet connection. Once I got the internet connection, I didn't want to lose it. And rounding up 4 brewers is like herding cats, you know. And we finally got them all sitting down, and it was fascinating. We had about several hundred people watching us live. I think that video's been watched over 10,000, 15,000 times now.
Wow.
But my favorite part of this video was I'd become the ultimate beer nerd, and I wasn't drinking anything. And I'm packing my camera, getting done and finished, and Garrett looks at me and goes, "Hey Art, you want to come over next door to us? And we're going to go get some wings and slam a bunch of Coronas." And so here we got 4 of the best brewers in the United States over there slamming Coronas late into the night. And it was just perfect because it was a hot, humid night in Florida.
Yeah.
And I found that a lot of those southern breweries, they make great sour beer down there, but they all have a lager or a pilsner or something light that you can drink because there's a lot of times in the season. A stout when it's 95 degrees and the humidity is 95
it's not the most refreshing beer to drink all the time. And yeah, I think you're seeing a lot more brewers get interested in brewing lagers, and we're just kind of working on getting the rest of craft beer drinkers into it as well. They can really be phenomenally complex beers.
Oh, like this is for instance, this is terrific. I mean, I could drink this every day and not be embarrassed about that's a lager. You know, in bed, eat your heart out. This is great beer, and I hope if y'all get down in this area that you come and check out Wooden Robot and the other breweries in the area. There's a bunch of breweries in the Charlotte area, all in the Carolinas, all over the United States. I'm finding everywhere I go, there's little great breweries that are tucked away in a corner somewhere in a little town, and because of the internet, you know, people are learning and not making some of the mistakes that they're learning from the mistakes that people made from the pioneers of craft brewing. You know, even as a home brewer, when I ran my home brewing club, you know, when we all first started home brewing, our first home brewers were horrible. We've got home brewers coming in now, and they're reading internet, they're reading Milk the Font, they're reading all these great books that have come out lately, and their first beers come out the door. It's like, hey, so you know, it's the education is a really good part. And that's one reason
it's come a long way.
I try to do these kind of things. What we're going to do is I'm going to listen when we post this on Milk the Font podcast. I'm going to ask him to, you know, if anybody has any questions about Wooden Robot, we'll tag your name, and if you can just answer some of the questions they have, something about the processes we use here. And again, Wooden Robot here, downtown Charlotte, North Carolina. Fantastic beer, sours, lagers, IPAs. Your IPAs are crushing it too. I really enjoyed those. I had to go through the whole gamut. So. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Art.
All right, take care.
Appreciate it.